I'm going to be tying a cat's whisker variation, and I'll be using a filling mill all-purpose hook size 8 for this. I will also be using white marabou for the wing, some bead chain which I'll cut for the eyes, snip off 2 sections to create the eyes. When tying this, if there's any rough edges, then it will cut your tying thread, so it's a good idea to remove those with a needle file. The tying thread I'm going to be using will be black. Catch this in. I'm now going to secure the eyes to the hook. I'm just going to whip in a little bit of black thread near the eye. Place the chain beads along the hook and catch that in a couple of turns, and then position them, and then it's a matter of figure of 8 to secure them to the hook. If they begin to sort of like slant to one side, then just adjust them with the fingers and carry on until you've actually got them as you would like them to be. Just need to be over this way a bit more. Now what I like to do now is just to whip finish that to create a secure fixing, and I'm going to apply a little bit of super glue now before I go any further, just to make sure they don't slip. That's done the job. I'll be using some of this fluorescent yellow Anton body wool to create a hot spot, and the first thing we need to do is to tie the thread down to the bend of the hook. Take the Anton fluorescent yellow body wool, fold it in half, use a pin to pull it tight, and then twist. Now I'm going to tie that into the body. Trim the tail to create the hot tag. Next we're going to take our chenille and remove the fibres to reveal the white core. Catch that in. With touching turns, wind it up towards the eyes. Catch that in. And trim. Take your marabou and remove some fibres. A selection of marabou fibres. If you use your fingers, make sure they're moist, just lick them and roll it. That gives us a good point to actually tie this in. Some people tie it in that way, but I find it's much easier if you turn it round and tie it in that way. It has 2 advantages. One, it's easier to tie in without creating too much of a bulky head. Secondly, you can trim off the back section here very close to the sort of head, and then when you pull this back the fibres are sort of more likely to stick up and be more attractive to the fish. Go crisscross. Take that to the front of the eyes and finish off with a whip finish. Use a permanent marker, just remove any white marabou that might be shown through the whipping. And there we have our cat's whisker variation. All that needs to be done now is just apply a small drop of super glue, holding back the marabou and using a pin just to spread the glue. And there we have the cat's whisker variation.